certified by the city. It's me against me, but for you, I'll drive 50. Long nights, had cold days.
Certified by the City presents Hoop Legends. Today we have my main man, Chris Young, a.k.a. Ghetto Bird. I'm your host, Brian B.J. Jones, bringing you another fire episode of Certified by the City. I have to my left my co-host, Rico Laurie, one of the main brothers from Crenshaw High School basketball dynasty, a three-time city champion.
Yes, sir. Three-time city champion. 2 at Westchester, 1 at Crenshaw in the state.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So champion certified right here. And I want to introduce my guest, Chris Young, a.k.a. Ghetto Bird. We go way back to the Drew League. And this brother has been on the grind for a long time. And we want to get his story today. So I want to welcome you to the show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to subscribe to our channel for our certified content. So how does it feel, man? You here now. It's been a long road. How does it feel to be certified by the city?
Well, it's definitely an honor. You hoop, you do what you do just to start, get them accolades, you get your praises, you know what I'm saying? So if you're not going to be rich by basketball, you at least want to get your love from it. So I appreciate that. Happy to pull up, you know what I'm saying? And, y'all got me in the logo, so it's only right that I'm here, you know what I mean? So, you got to get a bird. To get a bird
logo, right? It makes sense.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's get it.
For sure. Well, I want to welcome you to the show. Like I said, I've been knowing Chris for a long time, playing at the Drew League together. And we want to get your story, man. Just tell me off top, like, where did you start? I know you went to Audubon, junior high, middle school, but where did the love for the game, where did that start?
Well, actually, it kind of did start at Audubon. So, like, I grew up on 39 from Western. So, King Park, Martin Luther King, all we did was play. Either you was fighting or you was playing football.
Okay.
So, the football was my first sport, you know what I'm saying? The dudes would go play basketball every now and then, but most of the time was playing football. So, it wasn't until 88 where the bug started to kind of like creep in. I played one game in the 5th grade. We went to Fairfax for a middle school tournament, elementary school tournament. We didn't have jerseys. We just threw like Laker 87 championship T-shirts on. Our coach bought us and wrote our numbers on the back of the T-shirt. So
is that the one with all the characters on it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So,
The big heads with the big head.
Yeah, so we didn't, it wasn't a big deal. In the 6th grade, I didn't play any basketball, but I started loving the game. I found basketball, like I said, in 88, around the time my father was dying. I didn't know that. So, like, my father was dying in 88. He died, and, like, 2 weeks after I graduated from middle school. I keep saying middle school, from elementary school, right? So, but I was kind of, like, spending my time at Audubon with my cousins and the people there. That's when it started to, like, really grow. Like, if I had stayed, I always say, if I would have stayed and went to Fauché like I was supposed to be, I'd be from 30s and probably would have had football dreams. It just wasn't a thing. So when I went to Audubon and started being outside, playing more basketball, that's when the love started coming. So I figured basketball found me when my father had passed away, and my brother, who was really good at basketball. I was like my first basketball hero, but he ended up getting in trouble, so he had to go live with his father in the Bay. So summer of 88, I lost my father and my brother, so I didn't really have nothing. And then slowly but surely, I started getting more acclimated to the basketball culture. And 89 was when I played my first real organized basketball game or team. I was a Rancho. That's where everybody, you had to start at Ranchos back in the day. And,
Okay.
And back then, they just threw you on teams. So on my team, I was in the 7th grade. I was playing with Andre Stanton and Todd Whitehead, like two of the best.
It's pretty much the K&E Bulls.
Yeah, but it's a really good team
Yeah.
with this little, and we had a girl on our team. I remember going to the trials, being hella nervous. It's funny, I remember going to the trials. My mom dropped me off, and I remember Antonio Carrion was there. I knew him from middle school. And Antonio Carrion, if you know anything about Antonio Carrion, he was everything. And he was like, man, what's up, man? And he kind of took me under his wing, kind of made me feel welcome. I remember Tommy was there, Tank, he was an asshole back then. So I just remember those moments of being real insecure. And then, like, Antonio Carrion was like the #1 dude, period. Yeah. So, like, when he was like, yo, man, come follow me, come get in this line, blah, blah, blah. It kind of, like, settled me in. And then playing with Stanton and Todd Whitehead was crazy. So that's when it kind of started. So 89 was when that became my life.
Okay. So tell me about the high school, going on the high school experience. I know Rico had a...
Yeah, but I went on your question, like where your grassroots started from. But who did you want to emulate? Like,
brother.
was it
My
like
brother.
it was your brother? That was your
His name-
influence on
yeah,
your
his
game.
His name was Marcel.
Yeah.
But when we grew up, everybody thought it was Marcel Capers. So
Got
everybody
you,
thought I was
got
Marcel
you.
Capers' little brother. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, my brother's name is Marcel too. My brother graduated in 92. He should have graduated in 91 and stayed back a year. So around the same age. So my brother was my first. My brother was really good. He ended up
Gotcha.
going to the Bay and being like the best player of his high school ever. So like I always tell people all the time, if my brother had stayed, and my brother the point guard, if I'd have had his skill with my athleticism, I'd be rich. You know what I'm saying? So, no, my brother's my first inspiration.
Okay. Okay. So, your brother, you kind of like, I won't say patterned your game after him, but looked up to him as far as the basketball side of it. Going to high school, I know you said you had went to Crenshaw and then Manual for a little bit, and Crenshaw. Tell me that story, because I know Rico told us the story on the previous show about it being 300-400 cats trying out for for JV and varsity or for varsity, and it's crazy to think about that many people in the gym trying out for a team.
Just to think it was just that many people that could play basketball on campus.
Yeah.
Like that was like 5-6 teams. It literally was a 5-6 team. So, so when I went to Audubon at the elementary school, and so it was either between. Even though Manual was in my backyard, I never really wanted to go to Manual. It was either Dorsey or Crenshaw, basically, but it was always going to be Crenshaw. Dorsey had a run just because of proximity, but it was like I had to go to Crenshaw. My uncle went there in 81, my auntie went there in 84, so my first basketball game was my auntie taking me to a Crenshaw Big John game in 84. And she's a cheerleader, so I'm sitting with the cheerleaders, and I knew back then, I got to go. This is everything to me. Then I start... Daryl Strawberry ended up being an influence as far as the kids, so I wanted to go to Crenshaw. So from Audubon, and I was an average basketball player at Audubon. Like thinking about it was a ballsy thing to go to Crenshaw and think I was going to play JV as a 10th grader, because back then playing JV or playing JV at Crenshaw, Dorsey, man, all them schools was loaded back in the day.
Yeah.
So JV wasn't a curse word. Like now, you tell a kid now you playing JV, they gonna go, transfer.
They had all juniors play JV the year before.
Oh, no,
all juniors, and they ended up going up to varsity that next year, 92. I mean, before that year that we got there,
Yeah.
most of that team of JVs was all juniors, so you're not wrong with that.
And we had a senior play bees. It's like it was a dude like that. To play for Crenshaw, man, he was a senior playing bees.
Could some of those Crenshaw JV teams beat some of these varsity teams?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Without a
They
doubt.
did. I think they did. Like, and even with me, before I went to Crenshaw, I played at Westchester, 10th grade. I played varsity, but sometimes I'd be like, I didn't want to play. I wanted to play JV too because I wanted to be on the court because I
Right.
wasn't on the court as much as a sophomore on varsity.
Right.
So we beat Norabon
Varsity.
when
wow.
I was at West. So the Crenshaw and Manual
The competition
was top level, like Chris
bar
said, yeah.
competition
Yeah,
was-
Crenshaw,
yeah.
Manual,
was top.
Fairfax, Westchester, like those schools were above everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With multiple players, not just one good player. Like Venice and everybody else had one or two good players, but these were like
too many.
7,
Yeah.
8. Yeah,
So
like,
what
real ball
was
players.
what was your experience when you stepped on campus and started trying out and the whole? What was your experience?
You know, so like all my friends tried out for B's and C's,
Okay.
all the 10th grade. Because back then you didn't go to school you didn't go to high school to the 10th grade. So B's and C's is basically for 9th graders. And for some reason I was like, I'm not playing B's and C's. I just felt like I wasn't playing B's and C's. Like I wanted to play JV for Crenshaw. So, like if you think about Rudy, you think about just that small kid just jumping around, just doing the best he could to hang on. And every time the list would come out, because back then it was a list. You see your name and your name. I made it like I was literally the last person cut on the team. Like I've had Coach West tell me that, Coach Duckett told me that, and if I wouldn't have given up on school, because I remember I was in the locker room one day and I remember Curtis and Lacey and all the OGs ran up like, man, what you doing, bro? Like, what you talking about? Like, man, your grades off. Can you cuss? I don't know if you can cuss.
Yeah, you can say
Like, your
whatever you
game's
want.
off. Your grades all fucked up, man. Coaching was talking about putting you on JV because a couple dudes got ineligible. And I was like, damn. But it put fuel in my back to like, okay, well, next year, first, and the funny story is, only person coming back from that team was Leon. Like, everybody graduated that year. So me, Tyson, and Leon, we worked on the summertime. Herman, too, we worked on the summertime. Yo, we might play varsity next year. Man, please. We get on that campus, and all these dudes checked in. It was ridiculous. It was
Rico with a ring over
Rico,
here checking
Maurice,
in.
Animal. I don't remember what happened to Animal. Animal, Tremaine, Reggie, Keith, Calvin. I'm talking about it was 11 dudes and Leon, and then Tyson. Tyson and Leon were the only ones that played.
You forgot Paul.
Who?
Paul Pierce.
I'm saying, but I don't remember Paul. I just remember Tremaine.
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
said
yeah,
Paul
yeah,
was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But like, So like I was just joking with Rico, like even if it was of course over time the numbers are gonna keep growing. But like he said, the whole backside, both bleachers was full. And I remember I never forget this Tiny was like, so who trying to try for JV? And everybody was talking from varsity my ass. I'll play JV in 11th grade, please. So I actually made the team. It's just that me and Tiny just didn't see eye to eye. Yeah. And one time Tiny kicked me out of practice and I didn't leave fast enough. So then he like told me I couldn't come back to the team. And I'll never forget, like, Coach West pulled me to the side, like, don't worry about it. I was a good kid, bro. Like, I've always just been a good, solid dude. So Coach West was like, no, he knew I was busting my ass the year before. And I used to actually have good. So Crenshaw had this thing called the Tuesday Night League. And that's when, like, alumni would come play or local kids would come play. And it was like on Tuesday nights, it was ran by Joe Weekly and Coach West. I used to get there before the gym opened. I'd be sitting there and meet. I used to help him get the jerseys out. Similar to what I do now at Air West, is like if I'm working on some stuff, like getting stuff together, and a kid is trying to work on their game, I'll stop for 5 seconds or 5 minutes to go work with the kid. I've had those moments with Coach West. So I was a good kid. So, but he was like, yeah, your mom's got to come tomorrow, and we'll have a sit down and have a meeting. And I was like, okay. And I told my mom the whole nine, but then at school, I was just like, back then, I wasn't going to walk around with the stigma that I got cut one year, and then next year, my mama got me back on the team. I just wasn't happening. Like, now, kids run to their mamas and their parents to get them back on the team. I just wouldn't have done that. Now that cost me probably a city championship and a state championship my senior year, but it just wasn't where I was at. And I look back on it now, and it was selfish of me because my mom was working at Fedco, single parent, taking a couple hours out the day to come get her son back on the team. And when she came to Crenshaw, I was already on the 40 bus back to the house. Like, I wasn't just going to do it. Just not having a daddy type stuff. Like, a daddy would have been like, boy, you better sit your ass right there and go to this meeting.
Right.
So those are some of the things as you get older, you start looking back, well, that's where not having a daddy kind of got me. So, but I remember my boys, going back to 10th grade, my boys was like, you finna try for JV? Yes, I am. I wasn't the best player out of bounds. I was decent, the same hustler, just play hard, wasn't tall yet, didn't have no bounce yet, but I wanted to play for Crenshaw. Right. So when my boys, like Herman and played C's and B's, I was like, no, I'm playing JV. And it didn't work out, but I know, like, I gave them all, you know what I'm saying? And then the following year, I was fine with playing JV again. You know, you play JV and you just hope to get moved up. If that happened to happen. But I knew I was going to play for Crenshaw for 3 years, and it just didn't work out that way. So, but, you know.
And you went to Manual, and the rest was history.
Well, went to Manual, but the thing is, that's another not having a daddy move. Yeah. So you don't be an average player. You leave the #1 team in the city, which is actually, at one point, the #1 team in the nation, and then go to Manual, which is #2 and #3. You know what I'm saying? So I went from, I should have went to Hamilton or Uni or somewhere where I could have played. But I went to the two biggest powerhouses back in the day. Yeah. You know, Dorsey ended up getting there because Dorsey won the championship 2 years in a row, but Dorsey wasn't the basketball powerhouse until then. It was all about football. So then I went to Manual because the homies was there. My best friend at the time, Drew, Soe Kai, Rick and Backer. So we had a squad. We were actually the only team that probably could have competed with. Well, I feel like that. Because we had the size. We had 2 dudes, 6'8", 6'9". Everybody else was short of better players. Anyway, better players.
Darwin was there too.
Darwin was a sophomore.
Yeah.
No, Darwin was a junior. But then like Soy and Dave Bickerbacker was the main two guys. Drew was really good. Drew was 6'2". He'd been tall his whole life. So,
yeah.
But yeah, just going to Crenshaw in '91 when Boys in the Hood came out. So people don't understand, like, my first year at Crenshaw was the #1 movie in the world was Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
So it was 3,000 students up there, let alone everybody thought they could hoop. So it was just a whole different culture experience. And then luckily my cousin was on the varsity football team.
Okay.
And he's a senior. Then I had a cousin, the junior, who was low-key banging and tagging. You know, people don't realize tagging was just the conduit to game banging. People don't understand how big of a thing tagging was. And dudes went from tagging to banging. And that's a documentary that we don't talk about in LA. Like, that was a thing. So then my cousin, pseudo-cousin, who lived next door to me growing up on 39th, she was a varsity cheerleader. So I was already kind of like popping, but the basketball point wasn't really there. So I didn't worry about getting scrubbed. I remember going to the homecoming in the 9th grade, walking in with 2 cheerleaders. Like, I had the whole experience, just the basketball part, which was the main part, just wasn't working out.
Got you. So fast forward now, you go to Crenshaw, Manual, you graduate from Crenshaw.
Mm-hmm.
And then where's the next steps in the journey? Where did you go after that?
So after that, you know, life, like, wasn't nobody recruiting me out of high school, you know what I'm saying? So, and I still was kind of figuring out my game. I could jump by the end, but I was still thin. I still didn't, like I tell you all the time, I only averaged 1 point a game in high school. I only played my senior year. So that dude usually just goes and gets a job, and he don't play basketball. The fact that I still thought I could still do this with the same audacity I had in the 10th grade, thinking I can go to Crenshaw and play JV at the biggest school in the city. So then I started at Trade Tech. That didn't work out. I went to West LA. That didn't work out. So then spring of '96, I'm out of high school a year or two, and I'm like, man, if I don't do this now, it's not gonna happen. So I'm messing with Santa Monica. Me and Darwin was going to Santa Monica. Darwin ended up staying in Santa Monica. And I never really felt like Santa Monica was my spot. So then, like, my assistant coach, Thurman Watson, lived down the street from me. I was already acclimated to the manual thing. They said Coach Morris is going to go to Southwestern coach, because the year before that was weekly. And I didn't have a problem playing for weekly because me and him got cool as I got older. But hearing that Coach Morris is going to be at Southwest in his first year, and that's basically a manual connection. So basically, I was going to Southwest to play for Coach Morris to get that manual fix. And I was going to Southwest to get that Crenshaw fix because it's blue and gold and it's Cougars. And then Reggie was there. Ronnie was actually going to be on that team too, but Ronnie ended up getting into his own life. Maurice actually was going to play on that team too. Maurice, it was like Reggie, Maurice. I was like, okay, well, this is kind of my Crenshaw thing, and what I'm saying? And we're on the same playing field. I'm no longer just a skinny dude in the background, just kind of cool. Now I can actually play a little bit. I can jump, and what I'm saying. So. Southwest for 2 years. I did okay at Southwest, but I didn't do well in class. So when that was over, and I ain't running track that year or two and making all states.
At Southwest?
Yeah.
Didn't y'all practice and play at Crenshaw at Southwest?
So that was Remo and Ronnie.
Oh, that
first
team.
Year. So that team played at Crenshaw, practiced at Crenshaw and played at Crenshaw.
Yeah.
My year, we practiced at Manual, and we played our games at Trade Tech.
Gotcha.
So then the following year, my sophomore year, when we got that brand new gym that's there, I remember I was like, I got to be the first person to dunk in this gym. I had to be the first person to dunk in this gym. So, like, I am the first person ever dunk in that gym. Shaq kind of was because we practiced the Lakers where I met Kobe.
That's right.
Shaq became cool. So they would practice before. So when we were practicing, they'd be in the locker room and vice versa. So when the gym finally opened, they let the Lakers in there first. So Shaq low-key got the first dunk in there. But when it was just a building with just the rims and it wasn't even built yet, I remember between class I would go in there and dunk just so the homies would be like, no, I was the first person to dunk in this gym.
Now, I know Rico wanted to ask you about the ghetto. Were you the ghetto bird?
No, he wasn't there yet. He wasn't there yet. I know that's going to come up a little later. I guess we can, we don't want to skip ahead.
Yeah,
but
no, you can't.
But I remember I came back from school, and the Drew League was at Drew then. And I was playing with Tiny's team. Tiny had a team in the Drew, K&E. And I played, and they was like, man, next day, y'all got a game, the Ghetto Bird, bro. I'm like, who's the Ghetto Bird? It's Chris Young. I'm like, where the hell does this name come from, bro? Where does name come from? Where did that name come from, bro?
So it was around, I always forget the year, but it's either 98, 99, or 2000. But I think it's 99. So I was putting in some work.
It was 99.
I started doing my thing. Like I started being the high flyer, defensive guy. And I remember one time George was like, George, the MC, he's like, man, we got to get you a nickname, man. You need a nickname. And, we out there throwing out some nicknames. I remember I at the time, and to this day, I kind of play like him. Like I call myself the Matrix. I jump out. I'm shy, a little funky, but you better. I'm gonna get a double. Whatever you want. I'm gonna get one, right? Yeah. And I'm undersized. And he was like, nah, that's cool, but it's kind of hard out there. He's like, man, I literally was just like, man, I'm just gonna call you the Ghetto Bird. I was like,
that's an iconic name,
I was like,
bro.
that, it's top 5.
Yeah.
And it's top 5, and I
is,
said that,
though.
and I said that, honey, but I also had to live up to that.
Yeah.
People get nicknames and then that fade away as they stop playing. Like I'm literally called the Ghetto Bird every day, and what I do at Air West now is the reverse of with the Ghetto Bird. It's still because the Ghetto Bird is to protect the neighborhood.
It is.
I'm not a criminal, so criminals hate Ghetto Bird, but the grandmother and the person that just got robbed or shot, they love when the Ghetto Bird come out to find that criminal. So that was kind of like how I was. I was the defensive guy. If I locked in on you, I'm getting this rebound, I'm getting this block, I'm getting this tip jump.
Right.
And so now I've kind of flipped that to
and it's a staple of South Central.
No, and clearly, it's synonymous. Like so many rap songs, people got me. I say me, but it's tatted. People got it tatted on them.
Yeah.
And so now, what the Ghetto Bird is to kind of fast forward is now I'm still shining a light, but I'm shining light on my community, on my kids, on the next person, or the past. You know what I'm saying? So I've kind of like flipped the name. So when George said Ghetto Bird, I was like, oh, I am with that. Like you got to be kidding me, like for real. So. And then I took that to Slam Ball, I took that to Venice Beach. And so not only am I coming from not being I respected the person, but as a ball player, I had to earn that. Now I got this nickname I got to hold up to, because now when I don't make a dunk, or when I do get blocked, or the ghetto bird getting shot down, or the ghetto bird, and actually the song was actually dissing the ghetto bird, so people would love that. But
That's
so,
Ice Cube, right?
Yeah. And Cube is Minister of Society, like, you know, so it's just like, it's funny because me and Cube still have never had a conversation about this. Like, Cube don't know I've been carrying this name in the country, and all, like, like, when I start doing the modeling stuff and I be over in different countries, people love calling me the ghetto bird. So it's like, the nickname has definitely taken a life of its own, but it was around 99, me and George is outside just talking. I'm actually George's first real nickname and the one that sticks. So George is known for giving people nicknames. I was actually the first one.
Yeah, okay.
So,
That's a cool backstory. And I want to get into kind of your Drew League experience, right? Because you've bridged different eras, right? You've come from Audubon, where you did, you know, youth basketball, and then you go to the high school where you kind of, you know, trying to find your way. And now you get to the Drew League, where it's, you know, it's grown men out there. You know, it's adult competition.
Pros.
Right. Yeah, it's pros. It's pros, D1 guys, overseas players, some real hoopers, right? And, you know, me and you share a bond, a brotherhood, you know, that 2002 championship Drew League.
Oh, y'all was on the same team?
Yeah,
We played for the
undefeated.
Cheaters.
Oh, yeah, that's the Cheaters.
On the Cheaters
Yeah.
that year.
See, I didn't get a chance to play against y'all because I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I was done. I said, you know, it's a wrap.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You
You start
know.
being a father.
Yeah, exactly.
But we share that brotherhood and that bond. And I know Rico, when you with your teammate with Mo, and you know, just
Yeah.
all the guys that
Yeah.
you played with. Doesn't matter if you played 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. That bond is never broken. So take me to the Drew League. Like, were you nervous when you first got in there? Were you kind of like had come into your own, where you was like, nah, I got this now? And like, how was that experience when you start playing in the Drew?
Well, I to this day, I don't think I got this. That's what's always kept me hungry, and you know, I've always felt like I got to prove myself. So when I first got to the Drew League, it was kind of like on the high school stuff. Like I was playing for the LA Southwest team. That was their tryout. You know, you had to play for the team, and then you go into the fall and you go into school. So and the team was already pretty good. Like I said, they had Reggie. I don't know if Ronnie played that summer, but Marcus Malone was not Marcus Malone. Marcus Murray. That's the Marcus Murray was on that team. So they was already pretty good, and they already had their niche. So I had to come in, and the new guy, had to prove myself. And then I'm on the east side. I never really played ball on the east side before. Then the Drew League is about as big as this room. So
Right,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, I always about time. It was pros, but it wasn't a lot of NBA players, and wasn't a lot of overseas guys, because that just wasn't the thing in the early 90s. But what you did have to do was with that community. You did have to deal with them people on the sideline talking shit. You know, you had to get tough. You make a mistake, somebody on your ass right there and they're letting you know what I'm saying? And you just couldn't take no plays off. So that's why I kind of learned to just, like, I think I played hard, but I kind of understood this is even before I even stepped foot at Southwest, before I had Coach Morris's guidance. So I'm still kind of figured out, like, I averaged 1 point a game in high school. Now I'm trying to go to junior college. I'm a little bit older. Now I'm playing against tougher dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm still skinny. You know what I'm saying? I was really, you know, like 155. But you just had to be tough. And then, like I was telling you earlier, like, I still wasn't sure if I was going to go to Southwest, and I didn't want to commit to Southwest. I still was messing with Santa Monica, so I was like, I'll stop playing. And they just put me on a team with the fire department. And so that was like a cool so that was just my introduction to the fire department, to men that were working every day but still hooping and just being able, like, they used to have like fireman parties. Like being a part of the fireman team was kind of like cracking. Like, they used to be like a big deal. Then the dudes could actually play. Like I was telling you, dudes would come in their uniforms and change, or dudes would get a call, they had to throw their uniform on and leave. So sometimes it'd be 5 of us, 6, 7 of us. And so that's where so Southwest was like 12, you know, dudes trying to try for a team. It's hella guys. Fire department was like 6, 7 dudes, and I remember my first time really dunking on dudes and really just getting a chance to play the whole game. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know your name, you know, you lived up to the nickname, or the nickname got stronger. More bodies you caught in the Drew League, more tip jams, more blocks, more dunks, all that start, you know, happening for you in the Drew League, and then winning the championship with the Cheaters in 2002, and then, you know, moving on. But I know you said something earlier about the name and how it shines the light, right? And how you kind of taking that back, and now you're shining the light in a positive way with your program, Air West, right? And I want to get into that a little bit and talk to you about, where did that come up? How did you find the need to start that, or what was the motivation behind the Air West movement?
Well, like I said earlier, Air West has been around since 2012, and this was Nike's attempt to get back into LA basketball. Like I was saying, in '07, when my man Jerry Sawyer went to work for Kobe, who was the main guy at Nike, they kind of fell off. It wasn't a priority. I don't think there was anything, like nothing really going on in the city with the Nike tag on it. And they said they wanted to get back involved in basketball. And it was four of us, me, Keon, a dude named Thurman, and a dude named Dion. And those two guys, they hung around for a while, but they ended up falling off. So we were just opening the doors to pros, like weekend warriors, dudes to come in town during the summertime and just get a good. We wanted to provide a good space or a safe space for pros to play basketball where, you know, you go to 24-hour fitness, dudes is out there just jumping on your neck. We don't want James, DeMar, and Darrell. We don't want them to get hurt. We just want them to get a good bump. So you got to understand, they got a breakaway. We're not chasing that down. Like, I don't want to say like they weren't playing hard, but there's just a way to play basketball.
Right.
And dudes that come in with the money and the fame typically sometimes get roughhoused. And that wasn't what we were trying to involve. We didn't want that to be the case. Anyway, so Nike invested in that. It was only supposed to be for one summer. And then it went so well that first summer, they were like, well, let's do this. But they didn't want to just do it every summer because then you got to pick up where you left off. So we just started doing it year-round. And during my EYBO days, around the 2018, 2019, I was working with youth around the country and seeing that, like, Chad Babel, who's made hoops, was my guy. So I started seeing kind of like what the next wave was. So we started trying to implement middle school kids for a while. And then winter of 2011, March 2011, 2020, we were doing our first talent event for eighth grade showcases.
Noah was there. I want to say Noah.
Noah was there. So
My son was there.
And that was the last day of basketball. That was the day the basketball stopped. That's when the pandemic broke out, or that's when the NBA shut down that same night.
Yeah.
And we didn't walk back into the gym until March 22nd, 2022. So it took us almost 2 years before we walked back, literally before I walked back in that gym again. And Nike was saying they didn't really have a need for the Weekend Warriors summer basketball thing, but they were asking, could we do younger? Could we go younger? And that was already the mindset for me anyway. So we tried a few different variations and wasn't quite as consistent. And me and Keon sat down and I talked. I said, bro, let's just make it a skills clinic. And we just started designating age groups. And my nephew, who's 10 now, that was my main motivation for, like, if I'm going to be teaching basketball, I want to be able to teach his age. Because we're doing like middle school and sometimes high school. I was like, let's go young. Let's just put the ball in their hands for the first time, for the most part. And the program just kept adding and adding. And now we sitting here with, like, you know, it's a pretty special moment with this Air West thing we got going on.
Yeah, tell me the success of Air West.
I mean,
like,
this is success, you know, it's a free program. We're going as young as 4 years old, so we're putting the basketball in kids' hands for the first time. We're just walking them through that elementary, middle school phase of this basketball thing, and with me being, you know, the point guard of this and sharing my story and my mannerisms and my just the way I see this thing going, it's just become it's a community-based thing. It's like, it's really special. I'm not looking for, and I tell my guy, I'm not looking for the next NBA player. Just looking to show these kids how to play basketball the right way and just be good teammates and let basketball take them to where it may not take them if they don't have the right character. Like I was explaining to you earlier, as good as I did get at basketball, I got pretty decent. I could have been more skilled, but I made a name for myself. But
You did.
I wouldn't be sitting in this room or doing the things I do if it wasn't for my character and being a good teammate. And that's the main thing I preach. I preach just being a good teammate, because if you end up being the next thing, that's fine. But most of you are not. Basketball is just going to be a phase of your life, and you don't want this to be the phase where you've burnt so many bridges and you didn't learn the fundamentals, because the fundamentals of basketball are the same fundamentals of life. Show up on time, be in your best shape, and do your best. Like, those are just core no matter what you end up doing in life. And sometimes with the way the culture is now, and everything needs to be sped up and everything needs to be incentivized with money, and you can't tell these kids nothing, or parents are trying to run the system, we're going to lose a lot of our talented kids because we're not teaching them the fundamentals of life early. And I'm a firm believer that's what we're doing at Air West. So that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely makes sense. So with the Air West program, and I know you talked about the fundamentals, what do you feel the fundamentals that our era kind of had, Rico's era, your era, my era, What's different about the kids today with the lack of fundamentals, I would say, as far as being a good teammate, working hard, the discipline that it takes, the structure? What do you see as the difference between that era and this era today?
I mean, basically what you just said. Like, so I just at this conference not too long ago, this guy was trying to give us this new way of teaching basketball, and I'm like, the basketball teaching isn't broken. Like I was telling you earlier, these kids are way more skilled than we ever were. Like I look at kids like, oh, I can't even do that now. You know what I'm saying? But what they're missing is the humility of this. They're missing the get your ass up.
Right.
No, you don't get to tell us what you want, how you feel right now. Now, of course, there's some gray areas there. Like some of our coaches were a little bit too much, but right now we're just letting the kids run the asylum. Like whatever they say, whatever the parents say, we're cowering to their needs because of one elite kid. So we are catering to the elite kid and leaving the kid that needs this for fundamental of life aspect. And so the kids aren't as tough anymore. The parents aren't as tough anymore. The parents don't allow their kids to go through anything. It's always holding their kids' hand. It's always an excuse. And it's like, it's weird because I'm like, but y'all didn't grow up like that. So why are you allowing this for your kids? You know what I'm saying? So the fundamentals, jump stop, dribble to left hand, dribble to right hand, all that is there. We get that. But we're talking about the essence of basketball. And like you said, when we used to play, and I didn't get a chance to get it, we used to play, our parents dropped us off, or they asked us how it went when we got home. It wasn't a play-by-play. Every time it's a water break, kid goes to their parents, and their parents like, well, do this. Like, that just doesn't work in the real world because, one, that's really just catering to a talented kid because the kid that isn't as talented, they have to figure this out. And some of this is figuring this out on his own. And a lot of times parents think they know, but they don't know. My boy J. Crow said something. J. Crow is one of the most honest people in this basketball. People, you might not agree with that, but he's the most honest person.
J. Crow is
I remember
honest.
one time in Vegas.
No filter.
Well, bro, I wish I had some of that in me. So he was breaking his team down after Vegas, end of the summer, and he was like, and some of you parents, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. And I was like, what? I said, and it was, and if there was, I never was a bite fan. I was like, thank you, like to have that, to just be able to say it, and they don't. They just really don't, because a lot of them didn't play, and a lot of them didn't play after middle school. So that's why basketball and sports in general gets disrespected by the masses, because, oh, when I was 12 years old, I played. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
Well, even comparing playing street ball to playing in structured basketball is different.
It's a big difference.
It's different.
It's you got your coach, you got your teammates, you got the refs. It's just a whole thing, and your parents can't save you from this.
Right.
And too many parents are trying to save their kids from this. And as coaches, like I told somebody today, like, don't tell me coaches can't coach, because they don't get a chance to coach anymore.
Right, that's true.
Because the minute they lay into your kid, you transferring or you leaving. And now, when you talk about the training aspect, I know I'm going all over the place with it. The training aspect is, when we were growing up, being a trainer was weird. Like, some one-on-one.
No such thing.
I'm going to be, I don't know you, I'm just going to, look. But now trainers they can put their kids through college, they buying homes, you know what I'm saying? You can live a really good life if you're a really good trainer. And some are good with this, and some are know what they're doing. And we can't expect that trainer who's driving a nice car and got a nice house to tell this kid he's not good. Because if he tells this kid he's not good, and if he really tries to coach this 5-star kid, he's leaving. Mm-hmm. And then when that kid leaves, and then Adidas leaves, and then the Nike leaves. So we're now there's some, I don't know the answer to this, but we can find a way to compensate some people, but we're making it to where it's all about being compensated, and that's not going to be good moving forward. It's great for the person that's getting it and for the kids that's getting it, but for the masses, it's just breeding entitlement and expectations that society and basketball is not going to let them live up to.
Right. And I think we had spoken about that a little bit earlier when we were talking about, is it a rich man's game now versus, a poor man's game, and it's how now everything with the NIL and sponsorship, and you paying kids, to play, whereas we just wanted a pair of shoes maybe, or
right.
a jersey, or,
right.
a sweatsuit or something, or the trophy, right? Or bragging rights,
right.
The respect, the bragging rights of winning the league or winning the championship. And I know you talked about the parents being kind of hindering their kids' development as opposed to helping their kids' development. But I wanted you to speak on the money aspect of it because it's a business now, right? Before it was more pure where you just hoop, but now it's becoming a business. And you spoke on how the kids being, incentivized with money, how that's hurting the game.
Right. Yeah, and I don't necessarily think the parents necessarily all mean bad. I think some of them really do mean well, and I think that's just kind of like, I always tell people I don't have kids, so I don't know what that anxiety is for my child to make it. So I can sit back and have my own opinion without being swayed one way or the other for the most part. But the parents aren't holding the kids accountable, so I'm kind of lost the train of thought. So you're saying, what were you asking me again?
No, I'm saying like as far as the parents, how are they hindering or helping the kids as far as their development moving forward? Because with us, it was more tough love, right? The coach got on you, your parents wasn't coming over yelling at the coach, right? Yeah, they wasn't getting on the coach. If the coach got on you, guess what? You was messing up.
Right.
You was doing something wrong. So how are the parents hindering the kid development, and what are you doing at Air West as far as like, what's the difference as far as how you're teaching them or mentoring them to be a better teammate or a better player or a better person?
Okay. Well, yeah, so the parents, it's a double-edged sword. Like, so parents pull up with their kids. The kids don't catch the bus anymore, so their parents are with them. That's a good thing.
Ride the
That's
bike
a good
or
thing.
walk.
They're safe.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, if I wanted to go play at Dorsey, I had to get on 2 or 3 buses. I had to tell the homie, hey, man, you can't be saying cuz when we get to Dorsey. You know what I'm saying? Or, okay, street lights come on, it's getting late. We better get out of here. So those are the things we had to deal with to build character. Now, parents pick their kids up everywhere, which is good. They're invested in their children, but they're also on top of the coaches. They're also on top of their kids. So it's a double-edged sword. Do we want kids to feel safe? Yes. But there's a disconnect when, like I was telling you, when I have Air West on the 3rd floor, I wish I could have all the parents go down to the 2nd floor. And then on that 15-minute ride home, then let's talk about basketball. I don't need you to talk to the kid doing every play, every drill. So that's kind of, it's from love, but it's hurting them. And then it's the love part about parents not letting their kids fall. Like, they don't let their kids fail. Like, it's always someone else's fault. They're always trying to lessen the blow of life, and they know what life is coming. Like, they know life is going to come at their children, but they're not allowing them. And I don't know, maybe if I was a father, I probably would feel a little different. I like to believe I wouldn't because I'm older and I kind of seen the good and bad of that, but I just think the parents not holding their kids. Like, we always keep saying the kids. No, man, kids do what their parents say. Bottom line, I don't care how good you are. If your parents say do X, Y, and Z and you're a good kid, you're going to do what your parents say. And the parents are just, and I get it too, because some parents, it's tough for them too. It's hard to work 9 to 5. It's hard to work a dead-end job. And here you are, you got this 6'7", 6'8", 16-year-old, and that is supposed to be a pro. That's not that. He is supposed to be a pro. Mm-hmm. And you looking at either he make it, and I get to live this life that I probably gave up because I had kids young, or I have a lot of kids and I got to work, or do I take the chance of letting this man or this woman really dive into my child? Because if you trust your child with this coach or this trainer, then let them do their thing. But the anxiety of, there's so much money in the game now. Like, your kid can really get paid going into 9th grade. Like, it could be some avenue of that. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, the good kid always got paid on the low. Mm-hmm. Now you can get paid, ads and whatever it might come from that. So it's just a lot of anxiety, and it's a lot of, it's not enough tough love within the parent. Now, I'm not even saying that, coach. I'm talking about the parent. I'm not saying you got to be MFing your kid and starving them and making them get up at 5 in the morning and run. But if your kid shows an interest in this, then you got to trust the process. I know that's an overused term, but you got to trust the process. And that's not to say you're not supposed to interject with some stuff, but you just see some parents they just want a problem with something. It's got to be all about their kid. And sports it's a team sport, but there's still individual goals in there. And the people that are honest about that are the people you can actually coach and work through it. Yes, I want my son to average 15, but I do want to win. Not too many parents when they sit on the bench and still win. They want their kid to be involved with it, and it's understandable. But when you try to hide it with these, I don't want to say fake, but these quotes of it's all about the team, and no, it's not. It's about your child, and you're hoping the team aspect of that works out. But it's never like, I don't know, just a long-winded thing. But like, parents And I'm putting this all on the parents. I'm not putting this on the kids. Yeah. I'm just putting this on the parents because a good parent can save their child from a lot of these ills and stuff like that.
Okay. I want to ask both of y'all a question because now that we're talking about the parents and a hot topic that a lot of people have been talking about, and I'm sure you're familiar with this player, Darren Peterson from Kansas, star freshman player, and he's been making some waves with, I don't know if it's his parents or his team or his agency, pulling them out of the game. He's playing like half the game, subbing himself out of the game, and he's looking like he could be a top, either number 1 pick or number 2 or 3, whatever pick he's projected to be. But how do you feel about that? I want both of y'all opinion, but how do you feel about that? Because it kind of is a microcosm of what's going on in the game today, right? As far as paying the players, they get paid now almost like pros. They make a lot of money in college for the NIL. How do you feel about that as far as in that situation? Like,
well, I'll let Rico dive in more, but I know about the kid, but I don't know a lot. But I do hear he's the number 1 draft pick. I didn't know he was doing all that, subbing out and blah blah blah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he subbed himself out. I mean, he's very talented, but I think it goes back to letting kids go straight to the NBA out of high school. If they're that talented, why go to college? Because you're only going to school for 1 semester. You're not going the 2nd semester, so you're not truly invested in the college process.
right.
You're invested in being a pro. So they should allow these talented kids out of high school to go pro, and you won't have to deal with a situation like Darren Peterson. He's subbing himself out the game. He scored 23 in 18 minutes.
Yeah, and then he's hit a 3-pointer and
subbed himself out the game.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the goals that he has don't align with Bill Self and Kansas' staff. Their goal is to win a national championship. He might want to do that, but I think his goal is to go to the NBA and get paid, at the end of the day. Because he doesn't look as invested in it as you see other players.
I don't want to go to, win the championship or go to the NBA. I think I want to go to the NBA.
Right, go get the money.
So, and that thing, letting kids go to the pros, that's going to alleviate some of that, but you're still going to get kids that think they're bigger than the program. And that's just crazy within itself. If you decide to go to Kansas, then you let Bill Self coach you, whether you like it or not. And then, like you said, when the first semester's over, we know you're not going to school, so then you bounce. But that's what we're breeding, that culture. We're treating young kids as pros, and then we're treating them like that. But then when they get the opposite side of what being a pro is, then it's like, oh, you're treating my kid like he's a commodity. Well, which one is it, bro? You're going to get this money and you're a pro, or you're going to go by these amateur rules and get up on time, don't sub yourself out, don't ask to come into the game. It's kind of like with the football when a team goes to a bowl game, but it ain't the one they want to go to, and then a couple of players be like, I'm cool.
Like Notre Dame.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
That's the whole team.
The whole team.
Players be like, I'm not going to risk this money. So he definitely wants to win. And who don't want to win a championship? But that don't supersede me going to the NBA and possibly getting hurt, which we all know could happen in any moment. So, no, that's just a microcosm of what we're breeding. And I was just arguing with my brother about this. Like, yeah, it sounds good here, but all that just trickles down. So then you're going to start having middle school kids subbing themselves out because they saw him do it. And it's like, now what are we talking about now?
Yeah.
So it's just like I said, if you're fortunate enough to be a part of this NIL, getting this money thing, God bless you. But these other kids, and it's trying to teach the core values, because when you throw money in anything at a young age, the odds on that person having certain values is just lost. That goes in acting, music. When kids get money at a young age, they become the adult. So you're going to skip some of these intangibles, and I can go along with. That's why I kind of think we won't have an NBA MVP for the next 10 years. I don't know if we ever will have another one again because we're losing the plot. The plot has been lost. Playing basketball, if you're an elite player, was to get to the NBA. It wasn't to get paid along the way to the NBA. And the guys that are overseas are still hungry. They're still getting cussed out. They're still having to do 8-hour practices, which they hate. But they're being taught toughness. So then when they get over here to these pampered Americans that have been getting money since they was, they've always gotten money, but now it's like it's an obvious thing. Like you really can get money. That's why they're kicking our ass. They're talented, but they're kicking our ass because we have lost the plot. If you ask me.
I agree.
So how does Air West, as far as your program, what are you trying to instill in these kids as far as, I know you talk about being a great teammate and the discipline of everything, but what's the core values of Air West as far as developing these youngsters?
Well, one that starts with just being transparent. Like I don't hide nothing from these kids, and I don't hide nothing from their parents, and I give them the truth, honest. It's my opinion, but it's my experience, it's my thoughts. So we're trying to take it back. We're never going to go back to the '90s, but I walk in as a '90s guy. I walk in with, I have stories about Rico. I got stories about you. I got stories about the Drew. I got stories about Joe Weeks. I got stories about everybody. You know what I'm saying? So Air West, and then with Keon. Me and Keon are the opposite. So Keon grew up 6'4", Dominguez, probably lost one game in high school, played 4 years of varsity, blah, blah, blah. I come in small, went to a big-time school as well, but I had to, like, scrap and claw. And I'm still having to scrap and claw for everything I get. So we got those two main guys teaching. Then you have our coaches who have their own experiences. So I basically just slow it down. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the Nike machine. So I don't have to be thirsty about nothing. The lights are going to be turned on. I'm going to be able to give some kids some free shoes. I'm going to be able to get the experience. But that comes from me being transparent and me being honest about my thing. So it's not like, I always say about time, we're not reinventing the wheel. Like, I don't think you need 20 moves to be good. But you do need to have core moves. You do need to have core values. And that's what we're trying to teach these kids, especially someone who have never touched a basketball before or has never been a part of high level. Their parent can go pay top dollar to get this trainer, but that trainer ain't going to have the experience or the history that I have. They're not going to have the experience. They're not going to have I can have NBA guys pull up and come shake some hands, kiss some babies, and I ain't got to pay this guy, and this guy's going to stay an extra 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So those are things that Air West, we're still figuring it all out. Like, it's not done. You know, there's a whole lot more we can do with it, and I'm looking forward to it. But basically, I'm just trying to wrap everything I got into my little soul. Like, I talk like Coach West, Coach Morris, even my relationship with Tiny. Tiny apologized for that years later. Tiny's told me he apologized. When I went to Cal State LA, I didn't get a lot of playing time because I was invited to walk on, and I just ran to my old coach, Coach Yanai, at Coach Morris's celebration with the name of the floor at him, and he apologized to me. So it's hard to put one thing on airway. We're just teaching basketball, in my opinion, the right way, and that's from on and off the court. The whole culture, like these kids are just getting a master class for free from some people that really care about LA and basketball.
That's dope. That's dope. I think with your program that you have, it definitely is a positive impact on the community. And one of the reasons why we chose you to be certified by the city, because it's bigger than basketball.
It is.
Right? It's bigger than basketball. We're molding young women, young men to be, productive members in society and to, have a positive impact on the community. And that's kind of what this brand and this movement represents. So, we think that what you've done with Air West, and I know you're going to continue to do that, is big time. Is big time. So I wanted to ask you, because you talked about, the trainer that these parents pay for, big time trainer, right? Because I hear the kids now, because I try to stay up on the lingo, and they always talk about, I'm in my bag, or I got my bag. And I think when they say their bag, they just basically talking about their arsenal of moves or whatever offensive. We used to just call it game. Right. Like, oh, he got game. Like, he can hoop. He can hoop. He can hoop. He can play. Now it's in my bag, right? But we were talking earlier, and you told me something, and it was kind of funny. You said, yeah, a lot of these kids have a bag, but they can't hoop.
No, I'm saying, like I said, no, these kids are way more skilled than we were, especially at a young age. These kids are skilled. No one's taking it away from them, but they can't hoop.
Yeah, explain that to me.
They just don't know how to play basketball. Like, they know they know how to do all the cone drills. They just don't have any feel. They don't have no flow. One, because they don't just go play by themselves. I remember back in the day when I went to Audubon, we would go play in the morning, play at nutrition, play at lunch, and play at the end of the school, MP class. So we just played, and it wasn't nobody telling me how to do this. I had to figure this out. That didn't work. This didn't work. So, like, I always say, like, I would have loved to have been a more skilled basketball player, but I could hoop. But I knew how to play. I knew X, Y, and Z, how the game's supposed to be. So I got 5-year-olds that's dribbling with 2 balls behind their back, and And they're good, and that's where we want to get them down and teach them. But like, even when the kids like come 12, 13, they can do some things. They know how to do this.
Right.
But you throw that ball out there, and they don't even know what 21 is. Or
Is it a lot of that at Air West? A
Yeah.
lot of free play?
no, but we only got 45 minutes per hour.
Right.
So I can't give them. I want to put together a Sunday run where they just come play. But right now we give them. They play at the end, but I don't
Yeah.
want to play too much because then you have 1 or 2 kids that can play and they're not passing the ball. Then you have 8 other kids that are still trying to like figure this out, and so you got to kind of split.
Right.
But,
Yeah. You got to balance it.
yeah, but we play enough considering, you know, with the 1 day. We only have 1 day. Like I'm
Wednesday
afraid
still?
that it scales to where we're in Inglewood, Gardena, Compton, or or more days at Expo. But yes, I would never take away and say they're not skilled, but they cannot hoop, right?
Yeah.
They cannot. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, a lot of people, I understand what you mean. I wanted you to explain a little bit more because the average person might not know what that means.
And it's not for them.
Yeah.
So the basketball player, they know what I'm saying.
They know exactly what you mean.
What
Yeah.
that means.
Yeah.
And that's not to take away from their skill because they do it. They're skilled. I want that to be abundant. They are very skilled.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can hoop.
Right.
though.
So being skilled and being able to dribble 2 basketballs or go behind the back and do this crazy step back move
Yeah.
with the cones, but not being able to read the pick and roll or not know how to set a proper screen or V cut to get open or back door or jump stop or have a lethal first step. All these things are lost in the game, fundamental game of basketball. And I know, Rico, when you were in high school, all those things were molded and pressed into your head as far as the fundamentals, because that's how you play, and that's how you win. So a lot of the kids, they get that false sense of I'm good because I know how to do all these moves, but you put them in a game and they're kind of lost.
They lost. We let them play ones a lot. We play ones.
Okay.
And so in ones is we're going downhill. They up here trying to show you they can dribble 7. I'm like, no, ones is 1 or 2 dribbles, get to this basket. You don't have to pass this basketball. You know what you're doing. Nah, I got to show you I can.
Right.
And then I got to shoot a deep bomb. Like, no, it's to get layup. So and then in some of the spaces they're at, they're being told that's the right thing. So one of the things I correct a lot. Like I'm always correcting. My coaches are correct. I'm always like, I'd rather them get less reps in with more correction than more reps the bad way. You know what I'm saying? So like, no, don't just let them just get, because you want to get everybody to touch it. Everybody's going to touch it, but you have to stop and slow it down. That's why I have a lot of coaches now. So one's running drill and one's explaining what's going on when they're back in line. But nah, it's just, you got to play basketball. You got to play.
Yeah.
You just got to play sometime, and your parents can't tell you what to do. Your coach can't tell you what to do. Your trainer can't do. How do you want to learn how to play this basketball? How do you want your game to look in 5 years? So, and I'm talking about the middle school to older elementary school, the babies or whatever. That's just beautiful to watch them just fall over and trip and all that good stuff.
But the kids that's going on to high school,
that start to say that this is what they want to do. So at a certain age, 11, 12, this is what you want to do. Now we got to start ramping it up a little bit. Now I got to start telling you the things that's going to get you to the next level. Because defense is my main thing. Because outside of being a good dude and a good teammate, if I didn't know how to play defense, then it's over.
That's what got you on the court.
Yes, it kept me on the court.
Yeah.
And it's what kept me at Crenshaw for a little bit. They was like, Coach Weston, they wanted me. Ducky, I see, they always tell me how proud they are of me. But if it wasn't for defense, then there would have been no chance. Because I wouldn't have been able to score 30 points at 15 years old or 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't scoring 30 points at 35, but I was getting them double-doubles. I love my double-doubles.
That's right. Well, you shed a lot of light on a lot of different topics as far as your journey and the Air West journey. Now, I got to get your top 5 before we get out of here. I know, Rico, you gave us your top 5.
Now, is this top 5 just across the board, or is this Crenshaw manual? What we doing with Chris?
With Chris, I want to do your Crenshaw man. We're gonna give you a
Mix
little
it up.
mix, but just your top 5. You're the 6th man, so you can't include yourself. But I need your top 5 players. It doesn't have to be position. Just give me your top 5 guys from your era, right, or that era. You can pick who you got in your top 5, because we always get the top 5 from each guest that we have on the show. Rico, run down your top 5, and then we're gonna get
From
Chris's
Crenshaw?
top 5. Yeah,
From that era?
No, well, you was Crenshaw and Westchester.
Had-
let me get your top 5 from that. Just not from Crenshaw. Just give me your top 5 from that era,
Ooh, the
because I
top
know you
5.
had Crenshaw as yours. We
Yeah,
got your
that
Crenshaw
era.
top 5, but I'm gonna make it a little bit harder. And just your era. Give me your top 5 players that you either played with. They could be your teammates, or dude that you played against and was like, that dude is the truth. Like, he's real. Like, who do you, and then Chris, I'm going to come to you. So, who do you got, Rico?
I got Kevin Ollie,
Okay.
Dwayne Bradbury.
Dwayne Bradbury, rest in peace.
Put Tremaine Folks in there. I'm going to put
Hooper.
Chris Johnston in there.
Hooper.
So he put in a lot of work, and he always hit the game-winning shot when I pass it to him.
Okay. So, you got one more. You got 2 forwards. You got a point guard. You got a
Oh, Gumby. James Gumby Gray.
oh, Gumby. Yeah. Can't go wrong with
I'm
Gumby.
going Gumby.
Okay. Chris,
So-
who you got?
So mine's gonna be. So I can give you my 5 when I was sitting in the stands. So I can give you my top 5 of the guys I actually played with. So I'm gonna go with the guys I actually played with. So it's a combination of Drew League and just all over the city.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to play against John Williams. So I could say that I got to be on the court with John Williams.
Okay.
Mike Brown was my teammate.
Killer.
at
Westchester, killer.
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Gumby,
Okay.
obviously.
Gumby.
So now when I go, so I got to go 2 NBA players. I got to go Barron, and then
Barron,
my
okay.
ultimate favorite teammate, the best player I ever got to say I played with every day, all the time, was Darrell Wright.
Darrell Wright.
So those are the guys that
Killer.
I've laced up with. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But growing up, being in the stands, like I said, didn't play for 2 years. It was Kenya, Brandon Martin, Bert Harris, Alexis Scruggs,
Yeah.
and Brandon Martin. Isaac
Okay.
Bird. Like it was a plethora of guys that I used to just watch and just
Right.
wish I could. And me and Isaac ended up being cool later on, but those other guys.
I got all those guys on my list, too.
Yeah,
See,
all
that's
them
what I'm
other
saying.
guys
My
kinda
list
just
is long.
Yeah, I got a
so-
long list. So
Yeah, Rico-
I want to
Rico
give
got a
everybody
long
everyday
list.
love and respect, but just being that guy. And even Lil, I could tell you, them Fauché days, like them Fauché, that's a legendary basketball spot that people don't talk about. So,
Dublins.
huh?
The Dublins.
Dublin,
Playing
but
at
we was
Dublin.
we went to 32nd Street.
Yeah,
We didn't really
yeah.
go to Dublin.
Oh,
Dunk,
okay.
Dunk Court. So we was at 32nd Street by
yeah.
the shrine.
That was
That
the
was-
dunk court?
That was
Yeah.
that was dunk
That's
court.
another
Okay.
era that
But it
nobody
was
talks about.
like being at the Rucker, man.
Right.
Like you lose, you might as well go home.
Go home because you're not getting
Yeah,
on the court.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, you're not getting
So-
on the court.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I definitely want to thank our guest, Chris Young, co-founder of Air West, the Ghetto Bird, a nickname that was well-deserved.
Absolutely.
And he grinded his way to much success. And I know you're going to be doing great things with Air West. Appreciate my co-host,
Absolutely,
always
man.
Rico Laurie.
Yeah.
And
Always
we
a
want
pleasure.
to close out by thanking the VIP studios and just say, tune in for the next show. Certified Hoop Legend, Chris Young,
Well
Air
deserved,
West.
bro.
We out.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, 2002 Drew League champion, triple double in the championship game.
Yeah,
Crazy.
make sure you mention that on there. Make sure you mention that on there.
Yeah,
It's
that's
about a
wild.
20 and 20 and 20 or
It
something,
was
you know.
like
He's that
2, 17, and 12.
Killer.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
legendary
yeah.
work, man.
Oh, it was some work in that game. It was some work in that
Y'all
game.
got your
Yeah.
names on that banner too.
On that bench.
Oh, yeah.
I played terrible too, so thank
That's
God.
a big deal.
That's
That's a big deal, man.
No, for sure.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm certified by the city. It's me against me, but for you, I'll drive 50. Long nights, had cold days. It was chilly. Pray to God for that parlay to make millies. Whoa. I'm certified by the city.
So much to
It's
talk
me
about.
against
It's
me,
gonna
but
be a
for you,
part
30
I'll
years.
drive 50.
30 years.
Long nights, had cold days. It was
Nah,
chilly.
you get a
Pray to
part
God for that parlay to make millies. Whoa.
Just like Sam Crawford, he need a part 2.